Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the official Bancor X Alien Base call. I'm Jen. I'm going to be hosting. Really excited to have you guys here. You, Alien Base, are the first to directly integrate Carbon DeFi, Bancor's latest project. Really looking forward to hearing kind of why you guys went in that direction, what it's all about. But first, I want to start with a few intros. I'm going to start with you guys from Alien Base, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you so much for joining us. Maybe just tell us a little bit about yourselves, a little bit about Alien Base.
Sure. Thanks, Jen. Thanks
Of
for
course.
having us. So I'm Xino. I'm the lead of product at Alien Base. So I manage the team and the development here for creating our vision. Um, we are live on base since August 2023, and since then we've had a great community supporting us, and we're really happy now to upgrade our platform with your technology. I'll let 0x introduce himself.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm 0xAW, which stands for Anime Waifu, but everyone calls me 0x. And I'm the lead developer at Alien Base, which basically means that I'm the person responsible for smart contracts, for some of the DeFi, let's say, strategies like the next projects that we're going to be building as well, and of course the carbon integration as well from let's say backend side. Personally, I've been in crypto for many years. I got into DeFi with the summer. Actually, I remember also using Bancor a while ago, even before that. And yeah, excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you guys. And I have to echo Zeno here. You guys do have an amazing community. They're active, they're loud, they love what you guys have created for them. So I have to commend you on both the product and the community that you guys have built. Both of them super strong.
Thanks for that. Yeah, it's been the thing we actually work the most, even if it seems that what we work the most is the platform.
Yeah. Well, they definitely appreciate it. You could tell from the way that they respond to all of your news and just everything that you're putting out there and offering them, Mark, I want to hand it over to you. I also have Mark Richardson, project lead at Bancor and Carbon DeFi with us. If you would introduce yourself, please, sir.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, so my name is Mark Richardson. In a previous life, I was an organic synthetic chemist. Prior to working for Bancor, I was working for the CSIRO, which is the scientific agency of the Australian government. I joined Bancor first as a community member during the 2020 pandemic, picked up my first full-time research contract with the Bancor Foundation in January of 2021. And I took over leadership of the project from the original founders in October of 2022. What I do at Bancor is, day-to-day management of personnel, but also define and design, new decentralized exchange algorithms and communicate those by way of toys built in things like Python to the smart contract developer team who realizes them in things like Solidity.
Well, thank you. Guys, our comments are already blowing up. I was talking, we talked about the community, but it's no joke. They're all over this right now. I'm going to have to throw up some of their comments because there's so much support for this integration and collaboration. I want to, Zeno, ask you, you said you're kind of in charge of building this vision, right? Building the product out. Why don't you give us a little bit, speak to what that vision is kind of in its entirety and how it maybe started and where you guys are at right now currently.
Absolutely. So Alien Base is not a VC funded project. It's not some kind of didn't start as a big project when it started. We started with base chain when they deployed the mainnet, basically. And since then, we've been building a lot of amazing features, and we have a lot of amazing features in our mind that we're planning and already building. So when we started, we were just a very simple DEX. We just had the swap feature, we had the farming program, and only V2 pools, actually, only Uni V2 pools. And then slowly we started adding on top of it. So what we focus on mainly are like 3-4 different areas. One of those is swapping. So we want our users to actually be able to swap on our platform, have the best rates, and actually use it. The second area we focus on is the developer community. So we want to help projects to deploy tokens on. Also, we have a token generator that helps them like create some secure contracts for their token. And a lot of projects launched since the start on Alienbase, and our ALB holders and now ESALB holders, so the escrowed version of our token, always receive some kind of reward for that, some kind of airdrop from projects launching in Alienbase. Another category we focus on then is our escrowed holders and rewarding them as much as possible. So we distribute real yield to our holders, and we don't really focus on TVL much as a protocol. We're not really focused on building the place where the deepest liquidity, because other people have done that. Uniswap mainly has most of the liquidity on every chain. So what we did is we developed Epsilon, which is our technology for swapping, if you want, in the simplest way possible. And we just aggregate all the liquidity on all the base chain. So if you go on Alienbase, if you like our platform, if you like our UX, you're not limited to our pools. You can just swap any token you want. And you're not even limited to our token list. You can just add any token, even if it just launched, right? So this is about Epsilon. And what else can I add? Like, for what we built, we're just trying to give the best experience to our users for the features we have, but we are working hard to expand those features. So Epsilon now takes quotes from OpenOcean and Odos also. So when you swap on Epsilon, you also have those quotes, and also we natively support some pools like the Uniswap pools. But we're going to expand that natively and with more partners, so you really have the best rates on Alienbase. Second thing,
so it's not. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll wait.
Sure. Second thing we're working on actually right now is our analytics. So our plan, and this is going to be in the immediate future, is to combine analytics from all the base chain. So you're going to have all the tokens, all the pools, all the dexes actually, and you're going to be able to use Alienbase analytics as you're using Dex Screener, Dex Tools, or any kind of DeFi analytics platform.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I heard it right. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to expand our analytics with basically all the liquidity on all the chain and all the tokens. So you're going to be able to actually have some deep information about transactions, about volumes, liquidity, about tokens. And this is not going to be limited to our platform. It's going to be for all base chains. So if a new token launches on Base, you're just going to see it on Alienbase, and you're going to have trending tokens. So this is another category we're focusing on. And then there's the trading features, which of course includes also Carbon DeFi. We want our users, especially the most advanced users, to be able to do everything on Alienbase. So now we deploy the limit strategies and recurring strategies, which are these automated strategies from you guys that our users are really loving because it allows them to do things that were not possible before on Base. But also we're going to add even more features, simple features like, for example, DCA. So if you just want to enter a position, but also in the future with Project Quasar, which I'll let Xerox speak more about it. We are going to also allow lending and leverage trading. So it's going to be cool in the future. There's a lot of projects I'm not even allowed to talk about, but yeah.
I know how that goes. I always try to hint at things. Sometimes I'm like, Mark, anything, and he's like, no, Jen, nothing, and you know better. Yeah.
Just to give a glance. Just to give a glance, if you want to like summarize it in a very simple sentence, Alien Base in the context of the base chain is going to be by far the best DEX, where you can analyze the tokens you love, you can swap and do advanced orders and trading types on the tokens you like. You're going to be able to see all the yielding strategies you might have access to. So we're just going to, this is just our vision, like build the best product possible and do something people really could use and could empower them to better understand the DeFi space and to better use it.
Well, you say that that's what you want to do, but Aaron here in the comments thinks that you already have. So I'm just pointing that out really fast.
I'm glad for that.
Because the comments are great, so keep them coming. You really, I mean, you have a lot that you guys are building out, like the analytics alone. That's why I was like, wait, did I just hear that right? That's like not an easy task to take on. You know, it's not like you're just kind of building a sort of leaderboard, or nothing against leaderboards, or, you know, I'm not a dev, so I can't say anything. But this does not sound like it's a simple thing, but it sounds like it will really be beneficial for the users. And that seems to be the entire idea behind your vision. You know, what can we really offer our users so that they can get the best prices, they can have that sort of experience, right? This is so different. And this is my own personal opinion, so you know, you guys might disagree with me, but so many projects are focused on the TVL and on these different sorts of metrics, where you guys are, and that doesn't necessarily mean the best user experience, right? And so with creating Epsilon, it seems that you're able to offer the sort of experience that, you know, I would think users really want, right?
Yeah, it's true. Like with Epsilon, Alien Base is becoming something in the middle between an aggregator and a DEX. And DEX is usually focused a lot on liquidity providers and TVL, but we think that they're all the same, and there's not much innovation in the space, and that's what we want to change.
Right. No, I don't disagree. Yeah,
ZeroX
is
speak
unmuted.
about the bigger projects in the future for LPs also.
No, yeah, just wanted to actually add something about just in general kind of our vision. Like, we also are really bullish on base because, you know, it is the place where there's actual trading activity, right? So like, if you notice among all the L2s and all the even mainnet now has kind of gone down as well. Like, base is one of maybe very few places in crypto where there's a lot of actual users, like especially people maybe coming from Coinbase and just exploring DeFi for the first time often. And I think for sure, like, we've seen maybe kind of a taste of that in the past few months. So, you know, a lot of the, let's say, outside of Solana, I think Base was kind of the most active meme coin ecosystem. And of course, there was also a lot of other projects, including GameFi and so on. So we're kind of like just placing ourselves in that position. And I think for us, like the Carbon integration especially was really nice because it was very flexible. Like, you didn't need to have a huge amount of infrastructure to support any kind of token, and ultimately, you know, people are able to actually place limit orders on kind of any token on Base, even through Carbon, which really fits our vision from that perspective, and combining it with Epsilon. And yeah, basically, I think as Zeno was saying, like, the most important thing for a DEX are the traders, and I think Base is a really good location for that. Of course, it kind of ebbs and flows, right? I mean, right now the market is not super active as it was a few months ago, but eventually we should expect to see kind of, I think, like, the players of the future bull run are kind of already there, and whenever that happens, I think we're going to be seeing kind of more of the same, let's say. So as we've seen, Solana and Base have been really leading the pack in terms of activity in general on chain. And yeah, so we're kind of there to just, again, take advantage of that and just building all of our cool, let's say, ideas that we accumulated over multiple years on what makes for the best trading platform in DeFi. So as, for example, Zeno was mentioning, the project Quasar, it's kind of a code name we have for essentially a lending platform for all kinds of assets. So it includes, like, of course, being able to lend and borrow meme coins. Like there's few markets that allow this right now. But also, for example, things like LP tokens. Like there's maybe markets for supplying them but not borrowing them, and actually the borrowing part is very interesting. There is like actually one other project as well on Base that's been doing that. But of course, the concept there is that it's all in one platform, all unified, all kind of made into a coherent product, as well as the analytics part. Like essentially, the goal is that you go on Agent Base and you can do everything, and you never have any reason to go anywhere else. So hopefully that's interesting.
It sounds like that's exactly where you guys are headed with this. Mark, I want to pass it over to you really quickly, because you are the brain behind one of, right? I don't want to discredit anybody else, right? But behind Carbon DeFi. Bancor developed this about, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. Why did you think when you were creating this, Alien Base is speaking about creating this, user experience, this kind of all-in-one, why did you think it was important to create Carbon DeFi when you did? What was your vision?
In a way, like I think that the reason why like Alien Base and what we're doing at Bancor sort of dovetail together so well is that our focus is very much on the generation of like new tooling for projects like Alien Base to use. Like this is our demographic, right? We're looking to improve the existing infrastructure and then collaborate with others in the space to bring it to users. And I think that our specialization is very much on the side of analytically and creatively thinking about how these algorithms might be designed and implemented at the smart contract level. And so the reason why Carbon exists is because, at least in view of the things that I just said, I felt that the way that the DEX infrastructure had been designed and the way that it had been peddled by the marketing teams of the projects that had created them was basically like, it was very stifling. There was really only one type of financial instrument that was available to to users who wanted to quote prices, and that was this short gamma option, the what we call the canonical AMM, concentrated or not, right? It's still the same underlying primitive. And that was a little bit at ends with, I think, what people who are active in cryptocurrency trading were asking for. I've spoken about it many times, referring to tweets by traders like Danger and other prominent figures in Twitter that were saying things like, why can't I just, put a limit order as a quote price on the blockchain and then wait for someone to take it? This is something that actually existed long before the AMM paradigm kind of took over. There was a project called Ether Delta that was very much an on-chain order book. And it's kind of sad to see that feature disappear from the DeFi space. But more than that, also speaking with people that were managing, either very large or very specific or very numerous liquidity positions on the concentrated AMM infrastructure, they did have complaints about it. Things like, sometimes, they're creating a concentrated position exclusively to sell those tokens into the market as people buy them from them, right? So not dumping tokens, but waiting for people's interest and appetite for those tokens to improve so that they can distribute those tokens among the people who want to buy them. And they don't necessarily want to buy those tokens back. And so to have in the concentrated AMM paradigm, a system that requires you to constantly, interact with that liquidity position just to realize, what should be a fairly simple request, which is that as I'm selling these tokens, I do not want to bid on them again. Like I just want, I'm trying to clear that part of my inventory. And so I think that there was a very noticeable and easily articulated gap in how the DEX infrastructure was performing. And Carbon was designed to partially close that gap. There are still other things that I think are missing, and this will be added to the Bancor and Carbon DeFi catalog as we can continue to develop new infrastructure. But yeah, I'm sorry for the longish answer, but in summary, it is, Carbon DeFi was designed because I was very disappointed with the DeFi offering in the time that we started designing it.
Well, I don't think you were the only one, because I remember at the time that it was being designed, this is when I wrote one of my blogs. My first blogs about Carbon DeFi was because I had seen a big account saying, when are we going to be able to do these things on chain? Like I like what I could do on a centralized exchange, but I don't want to be on a centralized exchange. I want to be on chain. And so I don't think that you were the only one disappointed in the, options that we previously were limited to. I want to, are you guys able to share your screen? Because I'm thinking Zeno or 0x, if you guys could share your screen, like, let's jump into this a little bit and actually show the users what this is. Because like I said, you're the first to directly integrate this into your existing DEX. And to kind of make this sort of cohesive product, right, with all of these different features. And I want to kind of do a little walkthrough of it and see what you guys have. Good, cool. You're nice and clear here on my end.
Perfect. All right, so let's start. So as you can see, the first thing is that we integrated limit and recurring orders. Actually, the whole Carbon DeFi integration on Alienbase is native. So there's no subdomain or any other place you have to go and have a different interface. Everything is native. On the main swap page, you can see the options for limit orders and recurring strategies, which I'm going to come to them very fast. And in your dashboard, where you have all the information about Alienbase positions. So you have your liquidity pools, V3 or other types of liquidity pools. You have your ESL holdings, you have all your wallet holdings, your locked holdings, vested holdings. Here you can see also your Carbon strategies. I created a couple here just for an example. So for example, here, I have a ETHUSDC strategy, which is to sell ETH at a certain price. And if I click on the strategy, I can see already the activity. So I created the strategy a few time ago, and already it got filled by a couple of partial fills. Here I have another strategy, which is a recurring strategy, which I'm going to explain soon. Here basically says that if USDC goes below $1 in USDBC, just buy USDC. If it goes above, just sell it. And this is gonna keep doing it every time it happens. In my activity, I can see all the strategies and all the activities combined. We're gonna also improve that by adding a notification system, including Web3 notification system. So you're going to have notifications every time something happens with your strategy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So everything is integrated here. On the strategy cards, you can also see the prices in dollars in case you're building strategies for pairs that are not paired with any kind of stable coin that you're familiar with. And yeah, let me go back to the swap. So as you can see, we have limit and recurring. What are those? So in a standard AMM like our V3 and V2, if you want to have a limit order, any kind of thing that executes a certain price, there's basically only two ways. You can do something that executes based on an oracle or based on some kind of trigger, and you can build a V3 position at a certain price or price range and hope that the price doesn't revert and that you go back to the position you were in the first place. What Carbon does is that it allows you to create these limit orders. I'm focusing on the limit now, without them being reversed in any way. and they're fully, they work like an order book. Like basically they're fully on chain. You can modify them, you can edit the prices, you can add the budget, you can fund the strategy only with one token. And this limit orders is not that they executed a certain trigger. It's like you're adding liquidity to a very deep pool, you know? And these orders, particularly on Alien Base, are getting filled by the Fast lane, which is the bot provided directly from Carbon DeFi, but as a last resort. But mainly they're filled by APIs with aggregators. They're filled by just takers in the market, any kind of bot, any kind of arbitrage bot, even any kind of other decks, you know, other aggregators, sorry. We're going to also integrate soon in our swap feature the ability to take orders directly from Carbon. We're working on that. It's going to be live very soon. But yeah, so limit orders are very simple orders. I just, for example, let me say I want to sell Ethereum with USDC when Ethereum reaches, this is the market price. Let's say if Ethereum pumps 5%, I just want to sell it. This is the price in USDC. If I pair it, let's say, with another currency, so let's say I want to sell Ethereum for ALD, I can choose the market price, but understanding the price of Ethereum in ALD might be kind of tricky. So we added here a toggle, so you can, for every kind of currency, you can just set the price directly in dollars. So let's go back to USDC.
That's a nice feature.
Thank you.
That's very nice for the users, for sure. We always say this because you're able to just create this trading pair with any combination, or like any combination of any two standard ERC20 tokens, right? But so many of us had it in our brain for so long that you trade against WBTC, you trade against ETH, you trade against your stables, right? But being able to create these sorts of orders and positions and have that visibility right there is great.
Yeah, and we repurpose that also in the cards, so you can always understand what you've done, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, here, let's say I want to sell this Ethereum when Ethereum pumps 5%, and I want to sell, for example, some Ethereum I have in this wallet. But what happens if Ethereum pumps to 2,580 or 2,570? And I didn't have any take profit from that, right? So the range feature from Carbon DeFi allows us to set a price range in which I want to slowly exit my position from Ethereum, right? So let's say that I want, now the market price is 2.464. Let's say that when Ethereum reaches 2,500, I want to keep selling until Ethereum is at 3,000. So the average price at which Ethereum is going to be sold, as you can see in the documentation on Alien Base, but also on Carbon DeFi, is going to be the geometric mean. If I'm not wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong.
You're
so
right.
It's not going to be exactly 2,750. It's going to be slightly different. And this way, what I can do is that I can slowly exit my position and not lose the opportunity to convert some of my Ethereum in USDC.
Can I add something to this really quickly?
Yeah, please.
I think that this is so underrated sometimes, or misunderstood, or, I don't know what it is, but like, I'm like, oh, when this reaches this price, I'm just going to sell, right? Okay, well, then you're taking all of your emotions into account, because I know I am so guilty of this. It got to that target price, then I'm like, oh, well, maybe instead of that 10% or that 20%, I'm going to go with like 22, 25, whatever it is. And I get greedy, right? I mean, I don't anymore because I've learned that lesson. But being able to just take the emotion out of it and just say, I know what my target price is. This is where I want to buy, or this is where I want to sell. And I just want to be done. I want to let it be automated, is so fantastic. But then, like you were saying earlier, okay, I'm going to sell when I'm up 5%, whatever it is. You hit like 4.8, 4.9, and now all of a sudden it's back down to where it was, and you're like, really? I was
Yeah.
that close. To be able to start scaling in or out of these positions and taking that profit, and then just kind of waiting, it's like, it just makes so much sense. And traders do this all the time on centralized exchanges, create all of these separate limit orders because they want to mimic this sort of range. So now having it on chain is just such a great tool for users, And I say traders, but at the end of the day, like, I don't necessarily identify as a trader, but I will buy and sell tokens, right? I might hodl them in the meantime, but eventually I'm going to leave that position. This is how I would want to be doing that. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah, I
no,
just
yeah.
wanted to, by the way,
Yeah,
to say something. I mean, I don't think there's many centralized exchanges that allow something like this. Like, it's definitely kind of an exotic feature. So
No.
it's
Yeah,
quite
no, they
interesting, I think,
don't.
even just for you, if you're coming from a sex.
Sorry, if
Yeah.
I made it seem like that was the centralized exchange experience, then maybe
No, I'm
I
just like,
misspoke. They don't.
no,
They
it's
really
okay.
don't.
Indeed, like it's just indeed like we're kind of everyone is trying to replicate limit orders from centralized exchanges, but there's actually a lot of things that you could do better. Like, I personally don't think that, for example, Binance has the best UX in the universe, right? So yeah, there's always room to improve in everything.
Right.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
that's also another thing. Like, some people, like, even when we started, we were thinking, how can we bring a centralized exchange experience in DeFi? So where you have all these cool order types, you have all this cool UX and graphics, but at the end of the day, DeFi allows for even more cool things to be done, right? So you can actually build on top of that very cool things. Yeah, anyways, I'm gonna continue. So I created this order, as you can see, the 238. And I see here when I created it, what I wanted to do. And as you can see here, buy Ethereum 0 USDC and sell Ethereum at this, the marginal price. This, maybe Mark can explain this better, but Carbon DeFi is built upon the concept of having recurring strategies. So when you create a limit order, it's just a recurring strategy that executes only once. Mark, correct me if I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. So the way that Jen usually hates the way that I explain this because it's a little bit too technical. But let's see if I can
A little bit.
simplify things a
A
little
little
bit.
bit. Uh-huh.
So there is a like, people are kind of used to this idea that on an AMM there's like a single curve, and that single curve describes both the bidding side and asking side. So when you interrogate that curve, like, eliminating the fee modification for just a moment, but basically the the asking prices and the bidding prices are the inverse of each other. Like, where you are on this curve determines how many tokens there are to buy and what their prices are going to be. And if you wanted to sell into that curve, it determines how many tokens there are as well. Carbon basically does away with that assumption that these things need to be defined by one and the same thing, and so separates the bidding and the asking liquidity so that the user can modify it in an arbitrary way. So this means that, for example, you can say, as we saw on the demonstration earlier, to sell my ETH between 2,000 and 3,000. But then every little bit of ETH that I sell, I want the token that I'm selling it for, let's say USDT or USDC. I want those USDCs to then start bidding on ETH at a much lower price, like 2,000, between 2,000 and 1,800, for example. And so what we've done is to say, okay, if you take that single bidding and asking curve that you have on a traditional AMM and then separate it so that the bids and the asks are each represented by their own curve, then we've decomposed it in such a way that you can achieve, a much more complex, a much more expressive, system that users can, can engage with their own bias, right? So rather than giving them a single thing that they can do, now there's like a scope, a range of things that they can do.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much for that explanation. Like, this could be very helpful for our users, because some users asked like, what is the technicalities behind how it works, and it's nice that now the explanation comes from who created it. So yeah, I've created this order. Let's say that I change my mind and I don't think that I should exit at 2.5K per ETH to 3K, but maybe I want to exit a bit higher. So let me change it to 2.7 to 3K. Actually, yeah. So let me change it to yeah, here in the
Click
range.
on the range button.
Yeah. 2.7 to 3K. Perfect. And here I have the allocated budget. That's perfect. And I can modify my order directly on chain. That easy. Perfect. So what else I can do? I can, apart from modifying prices, I can deposit new liquidity. So for example, here I deposited a very small budget. Let's say I want to deposit a bit more of my Ethereum, and I can just do it in the same way. And as well, I can withdraw a budget or completely delete the strategy. Once I have a strategy in ETH/USDC, there's not really much need to delete the strategy for any type of similar strategies I want to build. So because I can edit prices, I can deposit and withdraw funding, there's not really much need to delete it. So you can keep those as some kind of strategies you run all the time. Maybe one thing important to mention is that, for example, for a simple limit order, like this one could be, once it's filled, once it's executed, let's say, and once all my budget went, let's say, from one currency to the other, if I want to use that budget, I have to actually withdraw that budget from the strategy. It's not something that's going to come automatically in my wallet. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now about recurring strategies, here's where it gets interesting. This is basically creating two limit orders that keep executing and moving and compounding the capital between the two limit orders. So what does it mean? Let's say the best way I like to use this is with stable coins. But for example, let's say I just want Ethereum USDC as we did earlier. So what I want to do is that I think market is going sideways, right? And I think Ethereum is going to bounce in a range between, I'm just making numbers up here, but let's say 2,550 to 2,450, right? So what I want to do is I want to sell Ethereum when it's 2,550, and I want to buy it when it's 2,450. But I don't want to do it once. I want to keep doing it as much as I want to keep the strategy. And the cool thing here is that this is going to do it for me. It's going to keep compounding the profits. So every time it buys at 2,450 and then it sells at 2,550, I'm going to have more USDC with which I can buy at 2,450, and it's just gonna keep doing it. And the second very cool thing is that I can fund my strategy with only one token. So for example, in this case, the market price is at 2,461. So let's say I think that Ethereum is gonna go higher. I'm just gonna put budget here. Now, because I have Ethereum in my wallet, let's say I don't have USDC in my wallet, I'm just going to put Ethereum anyways. So here I can fund it only with ETH. I can decide to fund it also with a bit of dollars, but this is not is not mandatory. And I just create a strategy. And here in the card, as soon as created the strategy, as soon as the transaction is confirmed, I can actually see in the chart what I'm doing.
Let's
So here,
go ahead. We have a question also about what you're doing and something that you had just said, and I want to be able to give them some clarification here. I don't want to cut you off of your thought at the moment, but I do want to not get too far ahead to where we might miss this for them. They're asking, maybe I missed this. Can the strategies be set by depositing one token? Pair will be automatically created, or will I need to already have the pair? So let's bring them some clarification on how that works with depositing only one token. And I think here we're talking about obviously the recurring strategies, or
yeah, what do you mean by to the user? What do you mean by pair is created? Like you can just
they're saying
maybe
go ahead.
Yeah, maybe I can weigh in a little bit here. So often when people are seeing this kind of functionality for the first time, the kind of thing that goes through their head is like, oh, does this mean I need to like deploy a new pool for like every time there's a new pair that I'm trying to create? So for example, like one of the pairs that I speak about frequently is something like RB versus Compound, which are are highly correlated, but also like very volatile. And if you're so like entrenched in the existing AMM infrastructure, you tend to think, oh, like I can't just do whatever I want. I need to wait and see if there's a pair that I can interact with, or I have to create that pair myself. That's not how it works on the system. And because the system is actually liquidity pool free, right? It doesn't actually have a liquidity pool object in the smart contract design. And so this means that you can assume that basically every single pair has already been created. Not just every single pair today, but every single pair that ever was or ever will be is already in the Carbon smart contracts. So there's no need to deploy anything. There's no pool factory or anything like it. You just decide which tokens you want to trade, which, how you want them denominated. So for example, selling ETH into Aave or Aave into, whatever meme token that you're interested in that week. It doesn't really matter. Every single time you do it, you the pool, if you want to think of it this way, is already there waiting for you to interact with it. There's no need to run a factory contract or something to create that pair. All of the pairs that you can possibly imagine already exist in the system. You just have to decide which ones you want to use.
And to answer this question here, Benzi, can you start with just USDC or ETH? You can. So if you're going to buy low, sell high, say you plan on selling your ETH high before you're going to rebuy it, something of the sort, right? You think ETH is going to go up in price, then you can fund your sell order first with that ETH, knowing that that USDC or USDT or whatever it is that you have it paired with will automatically rotate into your buy order, and it will be there for you to buy that ETH back at the price or within that price range that you set for your buy order. So with that recurring strategy, you don't need to do the buy order and the sell order. You can strictly only fund one if you choose. Okay, I just wanted to bring some clarity to that. I did not mean to cut you guys off. Thank you to everybody commenting and stuff too. Like as much as the enthusiasm is fantastic, so are the questions and making sure that you guys are understanding, what it is that we're talking about. So any more questions and things, keep them coming for sure. I didn't mean to interrupt you guys. You want to continue?
Oh no, it's just to finish the demo. Like here in the strategies we just created, you can always see here in the chart basically your buy low price and sell high. If it's a range order, you see all the range. If it's been filled partially, you're gonna see that part of the liquidity is gonna be filled. And also you can see your total budget. You can see, for example, this is a limit order to sell ETH at a certain price. I have my ROI versus HODL, which is negative because of course I sold ETH and ETH pumped a bit more. And then I have my buy budget and sell budget. So at any moment I know how much USDC and how much ETH are in my strategy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Well, I think.
Thanks for the attention.
No, of course. Here, we're getting some more comments in here. Everybody is really happy to see this. We do have one more question. Let me bring this down. Where did you go? It was another one from Ben Z. Okay. Can you set expiration date, time, or other conditions for strategies? Do either of you, Alien Base or Bancor Carbon DeFi, have this in the works, have this live, or, you know, have you given any thought into this?
So currently we don't have an expiration date time for strategies because limit orders on Alien Base don't work like other limit orders you might see, I don't know, on OpenOcean or Uniswap. There's no like trigger that fills the order with the AMM when it reaches a certain price. As we explained till now, is just a completely different system that works more like an order book than an AMM for sure.
Mark, anything that you wanted to add to that?
There's the reason for setting expiration in let's say the first approximations that we had of limit orders back in sort of 2020, 2021 by projects like, you know, like 0x and 1inch and so on, is that it was really sort of like an off-chain handling system. So there would be, you know, and we brought parts of those things on chain by incorporating things like keepers and that kind of thing. But it was usually an Oracle-based system, and so someone would need to query the Oracle every time, and then decide whether or not they can execute that trade on your behalf. And it was usually as taker liquidity. So the tokens that you had were sort of partitioned off for someone else to use to swap on a DEX after the price reached a certain target, so that you get the exchange rate that you wanted, and then the keeper would basically keep whatever was left over after your quote price had been reached. There's no need for that here, because it's not something that's been constantly queried. It's just a quote that's published to the chain. So there is no cost to maintaining those things indefinitely. It doesn't run out of gas or anything like that. It can persist forever, and it won't cost anyone anything.
Perfect. Thank you. Mark, I know that during the demonstration and the walkthrough here, we talked about the limit orders and range and recurring. Is there anything that you want to add, or any sort of benefits or things that you want to highlight with any of those features?
Potentially. So the one of the things that you get with Carbon DeFi, and so it's technically already a part of the Alien Base implementation, but requires a slight tweak from on the front end in order to gather the input data from the user correctly. But referring to this way that we decompose bidding and asking liquidity into separate curves, you can also push those two things together, and you get a prototypical concentrated liquidity AMM, but one where the fees, or the proceeds of trading back and forth, accumulate within the position itself. This is often referred to as auto compounding. I don't like that terminology, but if that's the one that you think is familiar, I'm going to say it anyway. So this auto compounding function has been built into other concentrated liquidity AMMs, because generally, like I said, the fee revenue, and I use air quotes here because it's not, it's a terminology that I disagree with, but it doesn't matter. The point is that there are these tokens that accumulate inside of like another secondary vault, and then projects built over the top to sort of gather those fee earnings and put it back into the AMM position to increase its depth. With Carbon DeFi, that process happens innately, so there is no need for a secondary project built over the top to manage your fee compounding, as users like to call it. The system just does that as a natural realization of how the smart contracts are designed. And this means that these same systems, right, exactly the same user interface that you've seen, potentially can actually be used to create, a full prototypical concentrated liquidity protocol as well. Like it's already there.
Mark, if I may, I think this is what Ben was talking about. He was saying compounding profits, and then his next comment was automatically in regards to the recurring orders, having these funds automatically rotating between that buy order and the sell order without having to go in and manually say, okay, now I'm going to withdraw this. I'm going to fund this order with this. And so it's nice to have that sort of automation, very hands off. I'm not watching the charts. I don't need to do anything from here. If I want to edit my prices and things like the guys that demonstrated, you could just go in there and say, okay, maybe I want to change it from a limit to a range. I want to change it from this price to this price. And I automatically have these profits that I'm making. Fingers crossed, we created the strategy correctly, right? They are just automatically accumulating. I think this is exactly what Ben was pointing out when the recurring orders were being presented.
Yeah. And so all I wanted to point out was that there is a way to further generalize this into another, saturating industry sort of DEX primitive. So you get an awful lot with Carbon. And I'm always very excited to work with our licensees to help them realize these things. And I'm sure that we will find on the way other things that we can get for free out of the contract infrastructure as it already exists with with just a few tweaks to like I said, gathering and feeding the user inputs. So yeah, it's a very advanced system, and I think that I'm really excited to see what Alienbase has done with the UI. I think it's probably one of the cleanest UIs I've seen anywhere on any blockchain. So congratulations, guys. You've done a phenomenal job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just wanted to add, actually.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
No, don't be.
Yeah, I was saying actually the concentrated liquidity feature, it's also something definitely quite interesting for us. Like we're actually kind of studying a lot let's say, what's next for the AMMs and for the DEX space in general. So as we know, there's, for example, Uniswap v4 coming. There's a lot of and as you've seen also from the progression, there's been like first V2, which is like very, let's say, dumb. Then there was like, or also Bancor had this basically the same system of the full range positions. Then of course, concentrated liquidity came over, so Carbon or Uniswap v3 as well. For us, I think like the beauty of Carbon is that it's very, very flexible, and I think it might be interesting to explore that. Our idea is that AMMs are just a type of market making strategy, right? So the dumbest of V2 is like very dumb indeed, but as you can concentrate it, you can actually kind of make it your own and make it a little bit more dynamic. And essentially, this realization is going to be kind of driving a lot of our next products, in the sense that in order for AMM liquidity providers to make money consistently without having to worry about impermanent false or stuff like this, usually this probably just requires having a very, let's say, smart trading strategy, right? And smart market making strategy. And there's a little bit of, you can call it alpha or whatever, but this is basically something that we're studying right now, and might be developing it fairly soon. And for sure, I think Carbon can be also an interesting piece in that equation, let's say.
I mentioned this project as a secret alien project in our Discord, and people were pretty hyped up. But yeah, I think we are the only protocol for sure on Base where you can farm your V3 positions. That's how much we don't like V2. We have a ERC20 wrapper around our V3, the NFTs of V3 positions, and you can farm them. And it also auto compounds fees, actually. So yeah, we're moving in better directions overall in general, for our LP providers, also for people to be able to provide liquidity and optimize as much as possible their liquidity.
You guys are doing fantastic things. Your community is amazing. They're commenting about how you've just been nonstop. You just keep delivering. And so, again, I really just have to commend you on that. I'm super excited to see Carbon DeFi, the smart contracts directly integrated into Alien Base, and to see, as a licensee of this technology, you do now have, the ability, should you choose, to add all of the future Carbon DeFi features that will soon to come out as well. I know better than to ask Mark what's next, because I'll get nothing from him. But I do know that there is always something happening. So I know we spoke about DCA features and things like that you guys are building on. You'll also, from what I gather, have many more options just from the Bancor Carbon DeFi end as well, in terms of expanding your product and really creating that sort of all-in-one that you guys are looking to create on Base. And I very much look forward to that.
Yeah, we look forward as well. We think with this collaboration, we can go very far on the product level.
Agree. Well, we're at the top of the hour. I just realized you guys are fantastic. Thank you for, giving this demonstration to everybody, doing this walkthrough. The viewers have all been amazing. Mark, thank you so much. Do you guys have any final thoughts? We didn't do this. Alien Base, we want to give them your, where can they go to trade, right? We showed them.
Yeah,
but what is the link? Let's say it, and I'll put it up here for us.
Absolutely. Just go on alienbase.xyz or directly the web app.alienbase.xyz. You can find all tools there. There's gonna be much more tools adding every week. Actually, we work nonstop on adding new features. There's a beta program for our users, which are gonna expand. So for users that are interested, they can access features in advance and test them with us and give some feedback. But yeah, follow us on Twitter, follow our channels, enter our Discord. You can find links everywhere. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, last request, more collaboration and great panel. So I'm not the only one who thought it was a great conversation and want to see more of this collaboration. I'm sorry, anybody else have any other thoughts that they want to throw out there? Okay, well, until next time, you guys, because I very much look forward to seeing where this takes us, and I hope that this is not the last time that we have you on here with us.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having us.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us as well, and we look forward to what both of you guys have, for future releases for us.
Thank you, everyone. I really enjoyed the call.
And thank you again to the viewers. You guys have all been fantastic. We will hopefully, have some new news for you soon. Thanks, guys. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day.
Have a good one. Bye.
Ciao.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.